Hi, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing well. And in today's video we are taking a look at this voltage and current calibrator from Chauvin Arnoux, the CA1631. This is in a family of calibrators from Chauvin Arnoux. There are three instruments overall. You have the CA1621, which is just for thermocouples. Then we have the CA1623, which is for RTDs, and then we have the CA1631, which is for volts and milliamps. All of these instruments can supply and measure those respective signals. So for this instrument here, we can source and measure 0 to 20 volts with a 10 microvolt resolution. Accuracy on this is 0.02% plus 3 digits, and for our current we can source and measure 0 to 24 milliamps. That's with a 1 microamp resolution, and we are 0.015% plus 3 digits, so slightly better performance on the current aspect rather than the voltage aspect. So within the kit here we have two leads that are supplied. These are Chauvin Arnoux standard leads, I believe. They do have the little protective cap. It's very small, but you do have the tip coming out there, but you can pull this off. You've got a standard 4mm adapter there that you can put on accessories, or you can put the tip protector back on. These leads themselves are 4mm at each end anyway, and the probes do come on and off, because what you also get with the kit is these Chauvin Arnoux crocodile clips, alligator clips, whichever you prefer to call them. These are quite substantial. They are very nice clips, and they're great if you're working on motors and larger electrical terminals, but for these I would say they're perhaps a little bit over the top. They might get a little bit clunky and in the way with this size, bearing in mind that when you work on with these instruments you're dealing with usually small wires, usually 0.75mm squared, that kind of size. We also have the black one in there. We do have this separate lead made up. This instrument is second hand to me, so that's why that's in the bag there. It's obviously a special lead somebody's needed to use. And then we have the instruction manual here in 5 different languages, French first, and then we get over to the English version there, and you can see just a basic description of the instrument, and then for each measurement function to utilise that, the terminations to use. So it's all pretty much there. And then we can simulate a transmitter here as well and provide the 24 volts to a transmitter should you need to. Auto shut off. And then we get a little diagram of the output terminations there. And then we've got our technical characteristics. So that's all included in there. We have Chauvin Arnoux calibration certs. There is no date to this. I did find out from them this instrument was manufactured in 2018, but we do get calibration data that arrives with it. I believe that's what arrives as standard. The instrument there, it's all contained in this little pouch here. I've got padded sides to this and zippered, unzip on it, and then a little partition for the meter that side. We've got our laggy bands to keep that in, and then the same again for the leads, and then a spare little pocket for the instruction manual and the calibration certificate there. Now put that to one side and we can have a look at the instrument itself. Now, as I say, this did come to me second hand off of eBay. However, if you want to purchase this new, RS Components are currently selling it for £862. In comparison, Test Meter are selling it for £690. That's including the UK tax. So this is quite an expensive meter And in terms of functionality, it's similar functionality to the HT8051 from HT Italia and the Unity UT705 that I've looked at in previous videos. Those two instruments currently retail for £608 and £250 respectively. So this is similar sort of value to the HT8051, but significantly more than the UT705. Now, I don't believe that Chauvin Arnoux actually manufacture this instrument. I think this is a rebrand. A couple of things that lead me to that. The first thing is this pouch. There is no Chauvin Arnoux branding on this whatsoever, which is out of characteristic from a lot of their stuff put into one side. And you see here, this is their clamp meter, Chauvin Arnoux box. And you open this up and you've got a Chauvin Arnoux branded pouch for this meter in here. So you have that as the first little looker. We also have this instrument. If you follow my channel a little while back, I looked at the Voltcraft LCR 300, and you can see here that the pouch this arrives in is exactly the same for both these two instruments. Furthermore, if we look at the actual instrument itself, whilst this is an LCR meter, you can see that it has exactly the same kind of look, feel about it, same shape, all the way around, same tilt bow, everything really is all the same about. Now, whilst this is a Voltcraft instrument, we do know that this is actually manufactured by a Chinese company, VNA Instruments. And if we go onto the VNA Instruments website, we can actually see that this is actually the VA700. For VA Instruments, it's part of a family of 4 instruments. We have the VA700, which is volts and milliamps. We have the VA710, which is for the thermocouple one. We have the VA720, which is the RTD. And we have the VA730, which is a voltage, milliamp, and thermocouple, all included in the calibration. And in comparison, if you can get hold of the VA700, which you might be able to in the UK via eBay anyway, that's around about £220 on eBay. You can also find this instrument or versions of the VA700. They look to be made by Sifram Tinsley. They still call it the VA700. That's available in America from RS Components for around about £200, equivalent £200. And there's also the Analogic EC380V, which you have trouble, you get it in America, but you have trouble to get hold of that in the UK, but equivalent price for that is around about £303. So we've put some batteries into our meter here. That's the battery pack, 6 AAAs there. You can see here that there are no brass threaded inserts for the battery cover there. This is the battery cover here, and these are the 2 screws that come out. You see they are not captivated, so not a particularly brilliant setup. They are quite small batteries. I don't know how long they will last. AAAs for kicking out 24 milliamps, but we shall see. We'll turn them on, a single press of the button. And control of this is extremely easy. Change between the input and output function on the left hand here. You can change the parameter that you're measuring, millivolts or volts, and then milliamps there, or you can change it to milliamp percentage, where you still get the 4 to 20 up top there, but it's then displayed as a percentage. And then the same happens completely when you go to output. You can swap between the various functions, millivolts, volts, and milliamps again, and then as a percentage should you want to. To actually change the values, you use the keys here for milliamps, where you've got 4 digits here. This one operates the 2 right hand digits here. You have to cycle them around, it goes, and then this one here will do the left hand 2 again as you go around. It will cycle up, so quite slow to actually change the values on this We will need to put this into input, so we go to measurement and we'll do milliamps first, and we'll plug him in. Go there, and we'll switch him on. You can see him there, hopefully. We are displaying 4 milliamps and 4.001. Can't complain at that, can you? Double that. 8 milliamps. Milliamps. 10 milliamps. Finally, our 20 milliamps. That is all pretty good there. Can't complain with that at all. We'll just switch him off. Okay, so we've changed to read millivolts now, and we are putting out 0 millivolts, so we will go to 10 millivolts, 1.99, 25 millivolts. Before it changes the range. So 99.99 is against 99.98. Okay, so it's changed over there. And so the unit appears to be having some sort of a fault on it, because I can't measure volts on this. As soon as I try and measure volts, it goes back to just displaying 24.94 volts. You don't change the leads over at all for this, so I'm not 100% sure. I can only assume there is something wrong with the unit itself, which is a risk you take when you, so I think it's 99 millivolts now, I think it's 19 volts. Let's change it back to millivolts, and it reads okay. So yeah, not sure what's happening about the voltage function on there, but it appears to be faulty, unfortunately. So that's all the measurement functions done. I'll just flip this around onto the next meter so that I can look at the output on this and see what that does. So then DC volts here, currently putting out 0 volts. We're saying minus 0.134. As I said, move these digits here, change the output, and you can see again our output voltage does not appear to be working. I should put 0.5 volts out and nothing has moved on my meter. Let's go up to 2 volts there, so nothing is moving at all. It did flip into, if you hold this down, it will flip over to the leftmost digits and move them faster, but again nothing is moving. So maximum voltage out, and we are not displaying any voltage whatsoever. I'm just sure this is what the instructions say that it is. So that's our loop power coming out, 25 volts there, but nothing coming out of our voltage output, so it's another fault. Switch to millivolts and see if interestingly enough, this is now flashing to say it's got an open circuit on this. Again, we use the same jacks for the voltage output, so that's not a problem. So yeah, faulty voltage function on the instrument, which unfortunately just happens, doesn't it? Buy second hand off of eBay. These things can happen. Let's change to milliamps. Output. DC current output, I need to change this over to there and that there. And we'll see if anything comes on this. It looks like this function isn't working either. And again, we're flashing to say it's open circuit. 1.9 milliamps. There's 10 milliamps, or should be 10 milliamps. And there's nothing coming out of the instrument, it would appear. So I think that's probably where this one will stop. I might be able to, over time, take a look at the instrument and see if there's anything faulty in there we'll be able to replace, but that's my bad. That's the dangers of buying sold with no returns on eBay, unfortunately. But that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you found it useful, and I'll see you again in the next one.